Maine is in the midst of an opioid epidemic. Last year, 608 people died from drug overdoses in the state. That was the first time in 4 years Maine didn't set a new state record. So far in 2024, there have been 51 reported deaths. The majority of them are tied to opioids. And these numbers are not unique to Maine. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on News Center Maine at 5:30. I'm Zach Blanchard.
And I'm Chris Costa. Drug companies, retailers, and distributors are paying out billions of dollars in lawsuit settlements. That's because dozens of states and other plaintiffs across the country have sued companies that made and distributed opioid painkillers that fueled the opioid epidemic.
Maine will get a couple $100 million from their settlements over nearly 2 decades. News Center Maine's Sam Olson joins us now with a look at how Maine first got involved in the fight against Big Pharma. Sam.
Hi, Chris and Zach. 7 years ago, when Governor Janet Mills was still serving as Attorney General, dozens of people asked her to sue opioid manufacturers. Well, that was just the start of our state's involvement, and now Maine is slated to receive about $235 million over the course of 18 years.
PJ Plummer is just like thousands of Mainers who struggle with addiction. For years, he says doctors prescribed him powerful painkillers for his back pain with no questions asked.
When you go to a doctor and you need help and they make it matters worse, what do you do?
That's when Dawson Julia got involved. Back in 2017, Julia was a medical marijuana caregiver. He was seeing more and more patients who were struggling after they became addicted to opioids. To hold drug companies accountable, he collected letters from 7 patients dealing with addiction. Hello. He hand-delivered those letters to then Attorney General Janet Mills' office.
It was retribution in a way. It was kind of like sticking it to the pharmaceutical.
Shortly after, Maine would join in on a wave of lawsuits against drug manufacturers. Today, those companies are paying $50 billion to towns, counties, and states across the country as part of the national opioid settlement.
Accountability is a big thing. A lot of people don't realize how much they've put into the downfall of so many people.
Maine is getting a total of $235 million over 18 years. Half of that will go to the Maine Recovery Council. In December, the council allocated its first round of funding, $9 million. The council is focusing on harm reduction, treatment, prevention, and recovery support.
We get pressure daily from people asking that question, where's the money, where's the money? We want it to get to where it needs to go, but we also need to be sure it gets to the right people.
This March marks Plummer's 7th year in recovery. He hopes this money will create new resources and programs to prevent others from going down the same road he did.
It's about the next person that does need help.
The Recovery Council will get about $118 million in total from the settlement, but with every round of funding, they'll update their priorities. Council Chair Pat Kimball says this round the council voted to fund, among some other things, 2 new detoxification centers in Androscoggin and Franklin counties. Chris, Zach.
All right, Sam Olson in the studio tonight. Thanks so much. By the way, if you or someone you know is having problems with drug use, you can call 211, or you can also text your zip code to 898-211. The service is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.